UEFN and Epic Games are in a little bit of hot water yet again because they just, if you guys haven't seen this, they just delayed some major features a day before they were supposed to release. No update, no nothing. We're going to talk about all this today because a lot of people are very upset, and understandably so. We're going to get into that in just a second. Before we do, though, I do want to say hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with too many YouTube channels. Let me bring you over to the initial post everybody ended up seeing from Fortnite Creators. Now, typically, this is where I show you one post, I give my thoughts, and we take a look at what everybody else had to say, but there are a few things that I want to take a look at before I actually give my thoughts on the matter, okay? So I'm going to fire through 3 tweets over here. So, this is what they had to say. We've updated the Fortnite creator roadmap and are shifting the release windows for a few key upcoming features. Scene Graph Beta, Q2 2025, enable creation of custom data-driven UI widgets, Q4 2025, enable creation of custom interactive UI widgets, Q4 2025. We want to deliver a solid experience when we put these features in your hands and remove the experimental tag from the scene graph. We also want to make sure you have continued visibility throughout development so you can make decisions that are right for you when building your islands. Thank you for your patience. Get the latest info, and it continues on. Fortnite creators did end up responding to a reply to that from Shinna, and again, we're going to do what we usually do over here. We're going to take a look at whatever a lot of people had to say about this, okay? But I think this is important before we actually get into it, okay? But why wait until just one day before the final Q1 update to announce these delays if you already knew custom UI would be delayed by 7 to 9 months anyways? Of course, nobody wants unfinished features, but giving us hope until the last possible second is just frustrating. Fortnite creators responded and said, "Hear your frustration on the timing. These are key features and wanted to be as sure as possible before we updated the timing on the roadmap. When a feature isn't ready for release, it's often because we've been using internally identified issues or shortcomings. In the case of custom UI widget capabilities, we were able to split this card to show which features have already shipped improved custom UI widget features, but it recently became clear that we need much more time to deliver the remainder of the set." There's one more tweet I want to show you. So after everybody kind of blew up about it, Fortnite creators posted this and said this to their initial tweet. "See you in the replies and hear you about being left in the dark. We should have shared this update sooner. Moving forward, we will update the roadmap as soon as it's clear to us a feature will miss its anticipated release timing. In some cases, that might mean a feature may be assigned a TBC release date, but we'll share an estimated release window for features as soon as possible, wherever possible." So everybody has been pissed off about this, understandably so. Epic Games, and I know that like Epic Games didn't go, "Hey guys, drop your life and come work as a UEFN dev. We were going to give you a ton of money," but they have to understand that people do this for a job. People do this for full-time work. The least that they can do, the very least, is actually communicate. And typically, if you've been following the channel, you would know that like I am so against Epic Games and communication because this community absolutely does not deserve it. I still hold that opinion when it comes to like Fortnite updates and, you know, like listening to people complaining about nerfs and things like that. And when it comes to the people who are dropping everything they're doing, people like game developers that could get a job, game developers that could go do something on Roblox, they're choosing to work with you guys in UEFN. The least that you could do is communicate with them. A lot of people have been looking forward to these features, and it's understandable. Things happen. Things aren't like bugs get found. They gave a good reason. Like everything they shared was like an acceptable reason for things to be delayed. Delays happen. That's okay. But a day before, I can't imagine the amount of people that were expecting this type of thing to come out and then like, okay, well, we're just going to wait this. We're going to fix our map at this day, and then we're going to push our update to go live. There are a ton of variables that can go into it, but a lot of people have been looking forward to a lot of these features. A day before, you say that this isn't like, hey, you know what, guys, we're going to delay this another 7 to 9 months. That's actually crazy. And this is coming from a guy who is really, really in support of what Epic Games is doing. It's not fair to your devs. It's not fair to the people who believe in your project and are choosing to work in UEFN as opposed to anything else that they could do. And Epic Games isn't solely responsible. Like if you are a map maker and are relying on these updates from Epic Games, you shouldn't be doing that. But my point being, it is respectful to the people who are working under Epic Games in that sense. And again, like I just wanted to say, like it's not Epic Games' fault that people have their failing maps and stuff, or like you guys get what I'm talking about over there. It just doesn't fall on Epic Games to take care of anybody, but I believe it is on Epic Games to be respectful and transparent. And when these things happen, you need to communicate it ASAP. I know that they made a post saying like, "We hear you." That's nice. It's really nice to hear like, we're going to communicate whenever possible. We're going to update you as soon as we find things out. But why wasn't this a thing? Like that not necessarily top priority, but if you're running into like delays with any sort of release date and you want people to really believe in UEFN and you really want people to like actually work as a dev full-time creating maps and be successful, you want them to choose UEFN and Epic Games to work with, you got to be transparent with them. You have to. It's the right thing to do. I would imagine, honestly, and especially with everybody taking off from UEFN right now, I would imagine that this is not necessarily destroyed, but really hurt the trust that people had with Fortnite creators and UEFN. I would imagine that people are nothing but worried about the future. Like, what's going to happen in 9 months? Are we just going to wait until a day before? Like, right now, you just have to take Fortnite creators at their word. And honestly, I don't know about you guys, I'm not that type of guy. If I was a UEFN dev right now, reading that, I'd be like, that's something you should have done, and I don't trust you right now. And I love Epic Games. I still love a ton of what they do. I respect their devs, but you gotta think, you gotta sit down and think about that, man. Until they end up proving otherwise with this whole communication thing, and we know it's been a problem for a long time. There's still a lot of questions that people need answers to within this space. I'm not going to sit down and take them at their word for it. So as much as it's worth, my advice to any creator right now is to do your best. You don't like work around these updates. I know they're not completely necessary for you to succeed with your maps. It would have been nice to have these extra tools, right? Keep doing what you're doing, grind as hard as you can, and don't expect any update to come from Epic Games. Don't expect it, then you can be safe with that. I can't imagine the people hurt who are like expecting to build something this day or expecting to tweak their map in a certain way. Perhaps they've made announcements, you know? And I know like obviously things happen. Is it a good idea if anybody did like sit down and just wait for these? Not necessarily, but you guys get what I'm saying, man. It is just the right thing to do. If Epic Games wants people to work and choose their platform, they need to do better. This is not enough. It is incredibly disappointing. And it's like, this matters a lot more than what we typically hear from Epic Games, where it's like, oh, Epic, I'm disappointed in this update. I think that this update could have been a little bit better. Like, I don't know. I don't really like the way that Epic Games like show that they cared about the storyline right now. No, these are people's livelihoods they're, you know, miscommunicating with. This is important. And this is important for a lot of people in the space. It has nothing to do with like something like a Battle Royale update. Yeah, you know what? So what? You messed up on communicating some key features. Who cares? Like, no big deal. But this matters to a lot of people. And like I said, guys, we are going to dive into what everybody else had to think about this, because again, we have another really big video for you, which I'm excited to dive into. As always, it's not just about what I think about the situation. I want to take a look at replies from Fortnite creators in general. A ton of replies over on the Explore page and replies to myself to get a gauge on how people are feeling about this. I ended up posting this over on X. Going to record a video on this tonight. If anyone would like to share their thoughts, I will include some. Thank you for your time, and for everybody who did reply, thank you very, very much. If you would like to join the conversation, follow me over on X at Clen YouTube, where you can find the link to the link tree at the top of the description. If you want to scroll down a little bit, you can find the direct link to X. Thank you very much for being here, guys. Let's get into what everybody had to say about this situation. Squatting Dog had this to say. 1. Letting us know this a day before the last day of Q1 is really tough on our expectations. 2. UI in its current state is actually laughable in a laughable state for any video game. Could I recommend listening to the community to enhance the workarounds we had to use? 3. These features, especially the ones we have in beta, we are building for games for proactively. If you cannot keep your roadmaps honest, you are only rewarding reactive experiences on this platform. I thought that was very well said. I thought this was very, very well said. And again, I understand that people are working off of these roadmaps. I don't mean to be disrespectful. I understand, like, I get why you would build your map off of a particular roadmap waiting for a particular update. I personally just don't think it's a good idea. Things do happen, okay? But other than that, what Squatting Dog had to say was completely accurate. In my opinion, I agree with it. Corey had this to say. We want to make sure you have continued visibility throughout development so you can make decisions that are right for you when building your islands. Delays the 3 biggest features on the roadmap a day before everyone expects them to release. I know. I don't understand how Epic Games could think that was okay. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just crazy to me. There's a big part of me, man, that actually feels bad for a lot of creators because I'm somebody who believes in this vision that Epic Games has, okay? Let's continue on to what Michael Struckman had to say. It's either a last-minute issue that caused a delay or they were hoping it would get lost in the news cycle. That's true. Dude, I can so see that with all of the stuff that they announced with Season 3 of OG, but I think it is important to note that I didn't mention this at the beginning. It's possible that there was a last-minute delay. It's possible, but Fortnite creators did, like, reply kind of justifying everybody's take. I don't think it was a last-minute issue, and they didn't even mention that, okay? So I actually, it would make sense for them to just want to get cost. Hey guys, one of the greatest seasons of all time is coming back right now. Hey, isn't this great? Also, there's going to be a little bit of a delay on the roadmap, but season 3, look at these new skins. That's awesome. Let's continue on to what Sir Rifty had to say. My team is being increasingly frustrated with how these features are being delayed every time we reach close to the timing of its supposed release. We've got map plans that we have to delay all of the time because these features are being delayed and it's becoming annoying. Understandable for it to become annoying, but it's also understandable on Epic Games' side to run into some issues. That happens, it makes sense, and I would imagine that most people would be understanding unless this is something that, okay, this particular thing that you keep saying you're going to release still isn't here after delay, after delay, after delay, after delay. Like, those things are justified in being annoyed about, but this is what I was also talking about. Like, I get that everybody's all hyped up for it, but maybe it's not the best way to go about things of just building your maps, waiting for these to release. I don't know, like, all I'm saying is don't rely on it. Don't rely on it. Just have something ready for, okay, when the feature comes out, we can add it. That's probably the best way to move forward with these things, but I know that people also want to jump the gun, right? PQ had this to say, this has got to be a joke. They're delaying things that were planned to release tomorrow by 8 months. I know, like, that's a major jump. If I'm not a game developer, so excuse my ignorance if this comes off like that, and if anybody could correct me in the comments, I would appreciate it. I have trouble seeing, like, if they ran into an issue, wouldn't it be able to, like, okay, maybe a month for them to fix, a couple weeks for them to fix? Because if something was released, or supposed to be released tomorrow, they run into an issue, why is it 8 months from now? Why is that the roadmap? Okay? Again, I'm saying this as somebody who doesn't develop games. Does it actually take that long? Could you run into a problem that would take 8 months to fix? My assumption would be, like, the proper thing to do would be to drop everything that you're working on with UEFN right now, unless you have, like, some sort of contract with something. Make it so this is the first thing that you're working on. Fix this bug. Release what you were supposed to release. That's kind of how I'm seeing things. But again, I might just be coming off incredibly ignorant right now because I do not develop games. I don't know anything about coding or anything like that. All I know is it's a lot harder than people give it credit for, okay? Guys, we still have so many opinions to take a look at, though. Let me stop you here for just a second. As you guys know, I have been advertising my support creator code in these videos, and you guys have been helping me so much. I have been grinding as hard as I possibly can on YouTube to be the sole provider for my family, and you guys are helping me with that journey. Like we were talking about in a couple other videos, we just got Clenday monetized, so thank you very much for all of that. I ask that if you do not have a supporter creator code that you're using in the item shop, please consider using code CLEN, my code. I am on a journey to do this full time, to take care of my family, and thank you very much for helping me, guys. Let's get back into the video and take a look at what Richie Toons had to say. I'm going to be the first to admit it. I was wrong about Epic. This communication is disrespectful. It's one thing to delay something, and most of us understand it's necessary, but letting us wait and delay projects for you to tell us one day before the update that much needed stuff is getting delayed for 3 to 9 months is crazy. I agree with that. It just flat out is disrespectful to everybody who believes in your product, who believes in the surface, who believes in the future of UEFN and the metaverse. It is flat out disrespectful. And again, I still have my opinion where it's like perhaps you shouldn't be relying on these types of things. And I'm not saying that everybody is. It's just maybe that's the best way to moving forward, you know, because I don't trust that this is even going to get released in like 9 months, okay? Let's continue on to what Lulo had to say. They don't understand that people spend time, create maps, work full-time on UEFN, and we were all waiting for the features to come out, but they say, nope, have a 9 months delay. I'm sure they understand that. They must understand that, right? Epic Games isn't stupid, and the people who work there aren't stupid. And that's why I find myself agreeing with Richie Toons saying that it's just disrespectful. They did not sit down and take your time, hard work, passion, livelihood into consideration. They didn't even give it a second thought, because you know how easy it is? It takes them probably 30 seconds to write that out, and they did not take the time to do that, man. It's just flat out disrespectful. Let's continue on to what Mephisto is coding had to say. This is a big issue. 1, the announcement came less than 24 hours before the expected update. 2, creators plan months ahead based on the roadmap, making decisions on how to now have to be reconsidered. 3, delays like this hurt trust in UEFN and the Fortnite team. That is, again, I wish I could add to some of these guys, but there was another thing like that's completely accurate, and I don't disagree with. Creators do plan based on the roadmap, and delays do hurt trust within the UEFN community and the Fortnite team. It's completely accurate, and everybody is completely justified for feeling that way. Emmanuel had this to say: I don't understand why they keep announcing all these features if 99% of the time they're going to get delayed. And I hate how they just told us today, a day before the actual release date. Feels like a slap to the face and to all the UEFN developers out there. Again, very well said. Sometimes I don't like making these types of videos where I completely agree with everything that the community is saying, because I'm like, what am I supposed to add to that, man? But one thing that I don't know is how often, well, I know that there's delays that are often, but if anybody could shed some light in the comments, I would appreciate that too. Are there updates that they keep saying are just going, yep, this is going to get released, yep, this is going to get released this day, and then like the same things keep getting delayed? If anybody could shed some light on that, I would appreciate it down below. Ali Jax had this to say: a 9-month delay the day before the quarter ends is unacceptable. If you knew it wouldn't meet the deadline, you should have announced it weeks ago. UEFN isn't just a platform for some people, it's a job, and delaying things like this just before a quarter ends F's people over. You cannot seriously expect people to want to work in your ecosystem when no deadlines are met and things are pushed back endlessly. Why work on a platform like this when you can't trust the company you're under to meet deadlines or make sure things don't that even work every patch? That's another thing that people are concerned about. There's a lot of things that haven't been working properly. A lot of creators have been very outspoken, and from what I'm aware of, Epic Games isn't doing such a good job communicating on those issues either. But again, another post that was extremely well said. And I'm sorry, guys, like, I don't think that the update from Fortnite creators really fixes anything, man, because the damage is done. They will just need to prove themselves right moving forward. They'll need to keep updating with every little issue, and they need to release things on time. It's unacceptable. It's completely unacceptable. And typically, I look at these types of things and go, you know what, guys, perhaps you're being a little bit entitled. I understand, like, things come up within a gaming company, but what the Fortnite creators did and what the way that they approach this announcement is completely unacceptable. You want people to work in this ecosystem. You want people to work under your platform. They want people to develop or to devote their livelihood to this. How could you expect people to do that if they're running into issues like this? Let's continue on to the next post. Driz had this to say: it's constantly pushback after pushback, hyping us up and then delaying it by months, and it's frustrating. I think I'm safe in saying that we would all feel much better if you just put realistic dates beforehand. Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't do that, or even just say like, hey guys, this is something that we're working on. We don't know when it's going to be out, but we'll update you as soon as it's coming. Well, actually, maybe no updates. Just, hey guys, here's the new Fortnite update, and it's here. Maybe none of that. No getting people's hopes up. Just say, hey, we're working really hard behind the scenes, and we'll get things to you as soon as possible, okay? But guys, there still are opinions for us to take a look at. Let me stop you one more time. Final point of the video where we are going to stop. As you might know, I am your guy with too many YouTube channels. You can check out the link tree at the top of the description or the direct links in the description down below as well. You can find all of my other channels, which we upload daily on, almost all of them. We have Clenday, taking a look at analyzing trending topics, random tier list videos, commentaries, things like that. Clenbat, UFC, MMA, martial arts content. Clenema, where we take a look at movies, TV show reviews, anime show reviews, all of that content. And finally, ClenClipsDaily, which is just some funny moments from some streams and offline Fortnite gameplay. It's been nice to see the bleed over there. Thank you very much for checking any of those out. But let's get back into the video, guys, and check out what Supreme had to say. I don't hate any employee or someone else working at Epic. I know you guys are doing your job and trying to give us the best tools, but this could be better. We don't deserve tools getting delayed this much. At least communicate with us often and update the roadmap as well. I don't know, like, if I want to say we don't deserve tools getting delayed this much. Yeah, if it like is delay after delay after delay after delay, like everybody's saying, then yeah, that's true. But I do acknowledge that things happen. Things happen, and I'm sure that Epic Games wants to get these things out as soon as possible as well. And I also don't hate any employee or hate anybody over from Epic Games. This was just bad communication and straight disrespect to everybody who works on your platform. Cyan had this to say: showing your video, I said hi, sorry, I forgot that I grabbed this one. Now let me spoil the end of Invincible. What Cyan actually ended up saying too was he was the biggest Metaverse supporter. He is a big fan of Tim Sweeney, loves what Epic Games is doing right now, and he really believes in the future of the Metaverse and how Fortnite is handling things. So I thought that was very well said by Cyan over there. He's always talking about how much he loves that stuff, okay? Lulo had this to say. I think we already took a look at something Lulo had to say, but here we go again. They knew it was going to get delayed since a while ago, like every other feature, but they had to tell us the last day, of course. They're just making creators quit because the development is so inconsistent. Yeah, and you've seen it. We made an entire video talking about it. People are frustrated. People are leaving. People are quitting. There was another post by Lulo, and he had this to say: they don't understand that people spend time, create maps. We already took a look at this. My apologies, everybody. Sorry about that. I didn't realize that we were like there. Sometimes when there's a ton of stuff on the explore page, perhaps it ends up showing up twice. I don't know. My mistake, guys. let me know what you think about everything in the comment section down below. And why don't you check out the previous video that we made on the same similar topic, like with all of the UEFN creators quitting and experiencing and voicing their frustration with Epic Games. You can check out that video right here. I would love to have you guys over there. Thank you so much for being here. Take care, everybody.